Yeah, yeah. Peace, my weebles. It's your boy Sincere Seven coming to you live and direct from the Psychonaut Academy in Detroit, representing House of Genesis, the pad. Don't think I forgot. Listen. I'm very aware that it's popping in Detroit right now. Okay, a lot of individuals from all over other places is in the D right now. I've been hit up, I've been located, I've been called, I've been visited. I fucked with y'all. You know what I'm saying? I love it that y'all here. So if you don't know, now you know the psychedelic conference, the Women in Psychedelics conference is taking place. Thrown by Mama Ayana and the Timerian team. You know that's who's originated bringing the psychedelic conferences by Baba Kalende. You know what I'm saying? And just because he returned doesn't mean that they are not going to continue, you know, carrying the torch, so to speak, or carrying on tradition, or however you might put it, right? So with that being said, you know, quite often while the conference is taking place, people is like, yo, what's popping at the pad? Because I be throwing the after parties, you know, the cushion coffees, all of that type of stuff. So we are doing a cushion coffee tomorrow morning, cushion coffee with the cap. So if you want to come through, microdose, take part of some plant medicine, cannabis, drink on some cacao, maybe have a mushroom, drink on some coffee or some tea, or you know, whatever it is. You know how we do the pad tea, the pad coffee, the pad cacao. Y'all know how we do, right? So for those of y'all who have frequented the pad in the past and on your ventures through Detroit, like it's part of the Underground Railroad, you understand? So of course, carrying on tradition, we have the cushion coffees going on, but also, there's quite often who people talk to me about the Sincere Mirage infused wines. If you don't know, I think around 10 years ago, you know, my cannabis growing was one of the second things that I became known for in the city. My first one was my poetry. A lot of y'all don't know that. Like, I was one of the hottest poets coming up and coming in the D. You know what I mean? Right? I worked with some of the greatest poets that are still operating, because me, I fell back, you know, once I started growing cannabis, and the finances was totally different than the finances from poetry. Well, I found something to take a little bit more serious than spoken word. So um so I started growing cannabis and I became very good. Okay, I'm one of the best cannabis growers in Michigan for sure, definitely, and I would definitely love to compete for one of the best in America. Organic, true living organic cannabis. So that was how I really started getting my name out here. I've sold cannabis to everybody from Bob Marley's sons, Busta Rhymes, Rakim, uh, Method and Red. You know, I've smoked with, you know, hey, you know. So when I say I got some of the best cannabis, I do mean that, right? So then that took me into starting to do expos and conferences and stuff like that. All right. Now you got some of the best weed. All right, sell weed next to 30 other people in the city who sell weed. Been there, done that. And the thing about it was mine was organic. So not only is it some of the best, but it's also some of the cleanest, some of the purest, some of the realest. A lot of y'all have never smoked organic cannabis. Let me just tell you, that's where the plant medicine come in. That's where the spirit come in. Mm-hmm. A lot of the chemicals, chelated salts, and the things that are used in growing cannabis does not allow for the spirit of the cannabis to really be free. Right? These plants are put on steroids and pumped with things to change their genetic makeup and how they show up and show out. They're not happy about it, and their spirit is not showing in the cannabis. So that's one of the um, secrets to why I became so good. The other one was because I was going in on 7 to 10 grams of mushrooms every 3 to 4 weeks. And I was getting secrets from the multiverse about how to connect with the cannabis plant, how to communicate with the cannabis plant, how to hear it. So they would talk to me. They would tell me what they need. They would tell me how to care for them. This is one of my beginnings into plant medicine. So when I started doing these expos, and yeah, I'm selling weed next to 20, 30 other growers from my community, and I'm standing up. I'm selling. Like, my lines is, they know what it is. This is organic. I'm letting people smoke because I'm smoking while I'm selling. Here, hit mine. You know what I'm saying? So that wasn't an issue, but I also wanted to stand out, not just off of quality, but things that I had. So I started trying to make products that I could have on my table that would make people in the expo go, wait a minute, he got what? Send a little buzz through there. Like, he got what? Okay, hold on. Where's his table? Where's his table? Yeah, that went down there on the end. Hey, where you get that from? Oh, I got this from, you know what I'm saying? I needed that. And so I came up with some peanut butter pretzels covered in canna chocolate. Okay, so that was a little, all right. Then I started putting a little sea salt on top, and you know what I'm saying? Next year, somebody was doing cannabis chocolate covered all type of shit. And it was like, okay, they took my idea and ran with it. The next year I came back and I started doing shit like cannabis infused, what was it, peanut butters and cannabis infused salad dressings and all of this type of stuff, right? And it was like, oh shit, this is dope, right? And boom, you know, I'm selling out. All right, cool. But then the next year I come to the expo, somebody doing the same thing. So it got to this point where I'm like, man, I need to come up with something that somebody can't copy. But you got to think, at this time, the cannabis industry in Detroit was wide open. So it was like, one, you had to stand out. Two, you got to have some of the best. And three, you got to have something that can't nobody, like a formula, like they were, how do I do that? Like that, what was it? Cool sugar, something like cannabis sugar or something. You know, people was coming out with all type of stuff that was like, okay, all right, you try to have something nobody else got. So I ended up doing a commercial because at the time I had a installation, well, I still do, a installation company where we install grow rooms, secret entrances, wine rooms, all of this type of stuff, smoke rooms. So I'm going to get a commercial done for Go Green Installations, one of my company. While I'm talking to the dude who's the engineer who's doing the commercial, another black dude, he's asking me, you know, what else I do, and I'm telling him. So I asked him, you know, what else do you do? He gets to telling me the things that he does, and one of them was he has a team of black people that make wine. And I was like, you know, cracking jokes, well, man, black people don't make wine. You know, we don't, you know, cracking jokes. No, yeah, this is something, it's a passion to mine. You want to see? Yeah, I do want to see. Took me and showed me the whole setup, showed me the wine, told me about different steps and this and that. And I'm like, oh, and I'm looking at the wine as it's still in production. Okay. So in my mind, I'm hearing how he's telling me that he makes wine. And I'm saying to myself, oh, this needs to be the next thing that I can do, right? That nobody will have. So I asked him, I say, you ever thought about making cannabis wine? Here. He says, I have. Me and my partners, we've been trying to figure that out for a minute. You know what I'm saying? But we can't figure it out. And we've been trying to do this, and we've been trying to do that, and we've been trying to do this. And I'm hearing how they're explaining their approach to trying to make it. And I'm saying to myself, oh, y'all coming from a mindset of winemakers. I'm coming from a mindset of a cannabis producer. So I know how to process cannabis. And there's a few things that as I'm hearing them say what they're trying and what they're doing, I'm saying to myself, wait a minute, this is that, that's this, and this won't do because that is that. But they don't know that because they're not cannabis. So I say to myself, now, so I'm telling you, literally, I'm reverse engineering it while I'm sitting there talking to him. So I say to him, hey, how much wine does one of those things make? Because he had what's called carboys. They're very big, like 6-gallon big glass jugs. Some of y'all might remember when your old people's in the corner, they used to be filled with coins, them big glass jugs, or the jars that be on the water dispensers. That's a plastic carboy right there, right? Okay, so I say, how much will one of them make? He tell me. I say, well, how many bottles is that? He tell me. So one of those make you 30 bottles of wine. He said, yeah. I said, what do you sell what do you sell your wine for? Because he told me this is our seasonal run. So follow me. I say, what do you sell your wine for? He said, per bottle? I said, yeah. He said, like, whatever price he said. I think it was like $14, $15. I'm like, so retail. I grab it off the shelf, go to the store, pay, or whoever is 15, 14, 15. I said, yeah. And he said, yeah. I said, okay. And how many bottles does it make? 30? So I said 30 times 15, 100, carry the woo, blah, blah, blah. I said, so I'll give you that amount for this right here. Now, mind you, the wine's still in production. It hasn't been finished. It hasn't been filled. It hasn't been through none of the processing. And he has not bottled it. He has not corked it. And he has not put labels on it. But he will receive the full payment, not wholesale, retail, for it right now. So imagine what I'm saying. If you're in the kitchen and you're mixing up cake batter, and I say, when you put that in the oven, take it out, frost it, cut it, put it in each saucer, cover it, and sell each slice of cake. How much is each slice of cake? $10. How many slices does it make? It makes 10 slices. So that's $100. Yeah, I give you $100 for that cake batter right now. That's what happened. He sold me the wine. I took it to the crib. Mind you, it's not finished good because I need to do what needs to be done to make it THC infused wine, right? So this wine has to go through a process, and I wanted to process the cannabis. Now, to those of y'all who've been trying to figure shit out, get you a little secret, bang. Because for the last 10 years, nobody's been able to figure out what the fuck I did. But let me tell you what happened. I bottled that shit up when it was done. I went to the conference, and I put that shit on my table. And when I tell you I sold the fuck out and had orders for Sincere Mirage, okay? I go back to bro. I say, hey, I need another carboy wine. What happened? You dropped the last one? You lost it? You spilled it? You fucked it up? No, I sold it. What do you mean you sold it? I bottled it and sold it. You bottled it? It's like you finished it. Yeah, I finished it. I bottled it. I sold it. I need more. You sold all of it already? I said, yeah. He said, damn, it takes us all season to sell our wine. How much did you sell it for? And I told him how much I sold it for. You know what I'm saying? He was like, per bottle? I'm like, yeah. It's in I infused it. Is it? He says to me, listen, y'all. I say, so I need another one. He says, well, now that I know how much you making off of it, I'm going to have to go up on my price. I don't know if y'all following. I bought it. He ain't had to pay for it. Labels. He ain't had to pay for bottles. He got retail price for some shit that was halfway done. So now I'm feeling disrespected. He said, fuck you mean? No, I'm not finna. No, we ain't doing all of that. He says to me, well, what you gonna do otherwise? Make it yourself? And what he didn't realize was, thank you. I don't even know why the fuck I'm standing here talking to you. He don't know who I am. He don't know that I'm a supreme scientist. He don't know that I was in the military and specialize in reverse engineering. He don't know that I'm a fucking nerd. I'm about to go read 13 books on this shit. I'll be making wine by next week, brother. And that's what the fuck happened. And I've been making THC infused Sincere Mirage ever since. Hey, Rod said, love the story, the shirt, and the mug. You feel me? I'm big dogging out here, Elliot. Thank you, bro. You know what I'm saying? And so that was the creation of Sincere Mirage THC infused wines. Okay? So since then, it's been a passion. Because let me tell you, the next year when I went to the expo, wasn't nothing on the table. The next year I went to the expo, wasn't nothing on the table. The next year I started running the expo. Ah, big dog. How do you go from being a person that's presenting to literally helping to run the entire expo? Because who I was in the community, and my man's, once he realized and he seen what I was doing. And so then I got to the point where I'm not even presenting at the expo. I'm going to hang out and I'm walking around, and what do I see at somebody's table? THC infused wines. So I see the wine. Somebody come and get me. They like, hey, bro, I need you to see something. And they bring me to the table. I'm like, well, what's going on? And I'm looking at the whole table. And they were in like olive oil bottles or something. That's why it didn't even catch me at first. He was like, you don't see that? I'm like, see what? And he kind of touched it, like, doop. And I was like, and right then and there, I'm talking about when I say they tried to bite my whole style, I'm talking about down to the shimmer. That's why I put the bottle up to the camera. Down to the, and it was not right? So I'm looking at it, and in my soul, I'm thinking the nerve of y'all, right? So I asked the lady, I say, oh, is this wine? She was like, yeah, it is. I was like, oh, that's dope. That's a dope idea. Like, how you come up with that? She say, my husband, brought the idea to me last year. Very interesting. Okay. Do y'all come to the expos like quite a, oh yeah, we've been here like last 2 or 3 years. Interesting. And I asked another question. She was like, I'm not sure. You'd have to talk to my husband because he's the one who makes this. So I'm like, all right, bet. Well, just tell him when he gets back, you know what I'm saying? Stay at the table. I'll be back in like 10, 15 minutes. Right? So I walks off from the table. My man who brought me to the table's with me. So he walks off, and I'm just walking. And he's like, yo, you want to go outside and smoke? And I'm like, nah. And I'm just trying to get my mindset together, like, how am I about to handle this, right? So then I see, he like, hey, look, the dude over there. And I'm like, all right, let's go back over here. So we go back over there. My man's sitting down doing something. I asked him a question about the wine. He don't look up. He just answers the question. I asked him a second question, and the second question got him to kind of got him a little, huh? And he looks up at me, and when he looked at me, he stood up. And he was like, yeah, woo. And when I asked the question, I was like, yeah, where you get the idea from this? He's like, oh man, actually, man, I think I got it from here. Like, just kind of seeing other people do other stuff. And I seen somebody, and it was like, oh, that's dope, And I was like, okay, he kept it 100. Like, you seen my junk, you appreciated it, and you trying to emulate it. So I was like, well, look, man, let me just give you a couple pointers if you don't mind. That's cool with you? He was like, what you mean? I was like, first of all, you don't put wine in olive oil bottles. You want to get wine bottles, and you can order them from blah 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 blah. Second of all, the stickers you got on here, these are not waterproof. So you want to go on this.com and get your labels, right? And I'm starting to give them the game, right? I'm giving them the game. And I said, so if you want to be like me, or you want your wine to be kind of like mine, I'll give you all the externals. Now, the inside of what you got in there, yeah, because you told me how you did that. Good luck with that. Because he told me, and it was like, you did what? You put this inside, you went and bought something, and then you added this. Oh, okay, good luck with that. I'm not hating. So at this point, oh man, like, he seen like, oh, this is dude, and he's giving me pointers, and he shook my hand. I shook his hand, and I walked off. And now I'm walking, and I'm like, yo, I'm about to go outside and smoke, bro. You know what I'm saying? Boom. So I'm walking outside. Now, mind you, there was a little circle of people around that table. So 2 or 3 people is walking with us, like, yo, we gonna come with you. So we go outside to my truck. I get in my truck, roll all the windows down. We start smoking. Okay? There's a person in a car right next to me. I'm not paying no attention to them, but I see it. They got their window cracked. We all in the car. I'm smoking. I'm just kind of calming down. So my man gets in the car. He like, bro, I thought you was finna snap and flip his shit over, son. Like, on some Wu-Tang shit. Like, yo, you ain't finna bootleg my shit. And I was like, yo, what that would have proved, though? What it would have done? Is he taking any sales from me? Is he taking any attention from me? All it would have did was brought negative attention to me. Look where I'm at. I'm not even selling my shit. I'm helping to organize and run this, bro. I couldn't go on there with that disrespectful shit. Like, yeah, I felt some type of way, but then I thought about it, and I was like, bro, he not really hurting me. The best thing that ever happened to Burger King, I mean, to McDonald's, was Burger King. If he say his shit better than mine, then it's gonna make a motherfucker buy both of ours to go and see. And when they do, they gonna see my shit the real. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just like, man, fuck all that. I ain't about to be all that hood shit. Like, oh, you disrespecting me. I'm about to fuck all that, right? So my man was like, yo, that's crazy, yo. Cause you used to be on some wild shit. I'm like, yo, used to be woo woo woo, right? So my man's in the car, gets out the car. He like, hey man, excuse me, I don't mean to be in y'all convo. And I'm like, yo, this is all good. What's up? He say, I was listening to the whole thing, bro. I was inside of the thing, and you know, I knew I was parked next to you, so when I came up to his table, I was looking at it because I remember I bought some wine, bro, a couple years ago at this expo. And so I came back this year looking for it. And so when I seen my man's table, I heard that conversation. That's you with the wine? I said, yeah. He said, bro, I came here to the expo just for that. He said, and let me just say, the way you just handled that, bro, salute, bro. For real, that was some real stand-up shit, bro, because I'm with your mans. I probably have been mad as hell, but the way you just handled that, man, yo, you a real motherfucker, bro. I want to get down. I said, what you mean? He said, where your wine? I said, it's at the crib. He said, hey, how much you got? I'll buy it all right now. Sold out all the wine that day. That was the second time I sold out. The first time was when Corey Blunt from the Lakers, when I met him, and he's like, he met me. He liked me. He's like, what you got? I'll take it all. And that was the first time I sold all my product. So, yeah, I mean, so this is the story of the Sincere Mirage. You know what I'm saying? Often, how is it often duplicated, never authenticated? I don't know, whatever the fuck, but this is it, the Sincere Mirage. Mention the Women in Psychedelics conference this weekend, get $10 off. So those of y'all who in town, matter of fact, the Psychedelics conference in 2022, it was epic. It was big things. Everybody did their thing. Boom. I hosted the after party. Everybody was at the after party. It was a who's who event. If you was there, y'all know what I'm talking about. It was legendary. The things that happened that night are still being talked about to this day. If you wasn't there, right? We popped 2 cases of Sincere Mirage. I remember the E Sisters was right in front of me. I remember this shit vividly. And I set the case and I picked that bitch up and I popped it. And I was like, here, everybody, and started, and then reached up and popped another one and popped it. And I just kept popping them bitches and kept pouring. And listen, we just actually reposted one of the videos of us getting in. Nighthawk was in that bitch. Yo, shout out to Nighthawk. He with the Ancestors now. That was one of the last recordings I got of Brethren. It was at that after party. That was after popping 2 case, because I just kept popping bottle after bottle. And when that case was empty, I was like, yo, fuck it. Grab another one. And we just started popping. We popped a black cherry, Pinot Noir. We popped a peach, apricot, Chardonnay. We popped the white strawberry Merlots. We popped the blush. I don't know if we popped the coconut ouzo, because the coconut ouzo was a bit special. It's what we call the Lucy edition. And I'll just leave that at that. If you know, you know. You feel me? So Sincere Mirage, you know, I don't do a whole lot because we've been in the game 10 years. So those who know, they know, right? But sometimes people forget. We've been here the whole time. It's still out here. It's still popping. And for those who are in the area, you know what I'm saying? Y'all in the area, I invite you to come. And if you mention the Women of Entheogens conference, you get $10 off. Sincere Mirage, the original, 10 years in the game, the first THC infused wine in America. Talk to me. I talk back. Talk a little shit because I talk that. You understand? Okay? So pull up. We at the pad. You know what I'm saying? If you don't know the location, inbox me. Holla at me, get at me. We can get it popping. And as always, tell somebody you love them in a language they can understand it in. Peace.